Could we please invite Mr. Xiaodong Wang to come on stage to introduce Viewchain?
My name is Frank Wang. I'm the founder, co-founder of Viewchain, and a very early partner of Elastos. So this morning I want to talk about why in Elastos we trust. First, we trust the people. I met Rong Chen many years ago. He's a technical guy that I greatly admire. And last year, I also met the co-founder of Elastos, Feng Han. We actually first met in China, and then I met again in Singapore. Then I got so interested, so I took a flight and flew to New York, where Feng Han was landing in New York. We actually met at the New York airport, Kennedy Airport. So we had a long talk. So what these two guys impressed me, not only were their years of experience, but also their belief. Actually, I was converted to a believer of the crypto world by these two gentlemen. So right now it's a bear market. Right now, the Viewchain team is confident in the future of crypto world and the future of Elastos because of these two gentlemen and the Elastos team. They are so calm about the ups and downs of the market, and they have deep-rooted reasons to believe in that. The other technical reason why we chose Elastos as our cornerstone partner and investor is they have the belief that the blockchain world needs an OS. Elastos is unique in that it has the OS-centric view of building the blockchain ecosystem. Many of the other projects, they claim certain technical aspect of advances, but they do not have the holistic view of the blockchain world. Elastos aim to build the entire foundation. We believe that the new world of blockchain and the old world of OS and internet need to merge and co-develop into a new foundation for the ecosystem. We also share the belief with Elastos that the success of blockchain ecosystem mainly depends on the number of, the size of their community, the investor community, the developers community. Ultimately, there are two numbers that measure the success of the ecosystem. One is the number of successful dApps. So if you look at dApps, there are thousands of dApps, but many with very minimal number of users. So we believe that we share the view with Elastos that success depends on the number of dApps and the number of users. So in this new world, Elastos not only provides us the belief, but also provides us the foundation. With the market downturn, I am much more tempted to personally invest in Elastos. I think the downturn actually is a great opportunity for us to get into Elastos, get more ELA, use our own money, and support the Elastos community. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I think Rong his presentation is a great setup for my talk. My name is Xiaodong Wang or Frank to make it easy for you guys. Viewchain, actually, we choose Elastos as our foundation partner for very strong reasons. To quickly recap why we choose Elastos, basically we view that we need an OS for the blockchain. And the Elastos team has years of experience. For one example is OS guys have the long tradition of having standard APIs. It takes years of experience to do it right. Okay, so to support a lot of the apps, you need that kind of experience. Also, Ron's presentation very eloquently proved that this new paradigm of developing blockchain ecosystem, that's the way to go. And we have shared the common belief that the success is not depend on how you say how great your technology is. The community and the user, they have the vote. if the user, the flock to your ecosystem, you have a massive number of dApps and users, then you're a proven success. There are a few challenges facing blockchain nowadays: security, scalability, and performance, and so on and so forth. I think, in my understanding, the Elastos team, they have a great security solution. The Elastos runtime actually take over the TCP/IP connection. They replace it with the secure connection that has total control by the OS. The Elastos virtual machine actually has the API go all the way down to have API access the hardware. So that way enables the API links to hardware solution like Trust Zone. Okay, so this actually is the security solution as best as it gets. The scalability. We believe that the division of work, the layered approach in the Elastos OS, is being followed by a new breed of the blockchain ecosystem. And we believe that P2P, the carrier, the P2P network, that's a proven scalable solution. Also, by offloading many of the decentralized computing work, the smart contracts to the nodes, I believe that's the right way to go. You cannot overload the public blockchain with all the computing. Also, the sidechain solutions make it very scalable across many dApps and many ecosystems. Performance-wise, I think it's, I'm glad that Elastos is leading in a new direction rather than the mad dash by many public blockchains to the improving TPX at the cost of many other important considerations like security. We believe that it's probably incorrect, to say the least, to say we need to have one single TPX metrics for the entire blockchain across many dApp scenarios. And with the computing offload to many nodes, I think that's the way to go. So we talk about how great Elastos is for the blockchain or the decentralized ecosystem. With such a great foundation, and let's look at the current state of blockchain ecosystem. I just recently looked at the Ethereum, the dApp scenario. There are thousands of dApps on the Ethereum platform. But guess what's the largest dApp they have? The largest dApp right now, I think the peak user level is higher, but right now the largest dApp on the Ethereum platform has less than 1,000 DAUs. This is not what I call a success. Okay, so that begs the question: what will be the true success for the next generation decentralized ecosystem? I believe that massive user adoption is the true measure. This is the first important point that I want to make. There's not many people want to make this point, and this is not popular, but I think this is critically important that we do have a lot of users on whatever great ecosystem that we build. People don't mention this point, maybe because it's very difficult. If you want to convert the traditional internet apps to the decentralized world, to be a dApp in the blockchain world, actually is much harder than most people have imagined. And it will take a lot of effort, a long time for us to have successful dApps. What's the main reason for the lack of success in the current dApp scenario? Let's reflect on the two biggest successes in the crypto world, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin actually has killer apps. It probably cannot be mentioned in public. A lot of the applications for Bitcoin, it's for secret transactions, you know what I mean. But Bitcoin is being adopted by Main Street, Wall Street, because right now we have legit business reasons to use Bitcoin. And Ethereum is great for ICOs and issuing tokens. This is great killer app for the crypto world, but not for interconnection between to the traditional internet world or the physical world. So the next generation blockchain ecosystem, in my belief, should have a viable link to the physical and internet virtual world, and it should have massive users. And to do this, this is hope that Viewchain come in with the blockchain, with Elastos as the foundation. We think we need to bring blockchain to the masses. To solve the scalability problem, we think that the P2P network should be fundamentally scalable. I have been a P2P networking guy for a long, long time, since my graduate school days, for 15, 20 years now. I really like P2P network. It's a great way to scale. And the performance, we first looked at IPFS. IPFS is great. It replaced the address URL-centric paradigm into a content hash-centric paradigm. It's great. It's great for the decentralized world. But once we use it, we find several problems. First of all is the decentralized net traversal. Net traversal, there's not much code in the released IPFS open source GitHub. To do net traversal actually is fairly difficult. But for networking guys with experience, it's doable. And the challenge is do it in a fully decentralized way. The other issue with native IPFS, the performance really sucks. It's just imagine if you want to do the IPFS decentralized storage from my computer to your computer, behind my router firewall to your PC behind your firewall. It's understandable the performance is really bad. So you really need well-engineered solutions to improve the performance. Security. I think we talked a lot about digital assets, the content created by you, and you're going to sell the content. And DRM, digital right management, is a big issue. So Elastos provides the OS level security. That's already great. But to make it trusted by Hollywood, you truly need hardware-based solution. Trust Zone is ARM-based, a small hardware solution like Ron mentioned. It's a small CPU, and with its own tiny OS. The tiny OS is not in any way shared with the host OS, and is not compromised by the host OS. So we really need that kind of, from hardware to the Elastos OS to the application level, that kind of security. So our mission, with the help of Elastos, is become the largest network. We're not building the distributed storage. We're building the network for distributed storage. And we also believe the storage should have content for users to enjoy. I believe the next generation killer app for the decentralized world is a world where you can create your content and you reap the benefit from your content, and you share anything you want with your friends. You cannot publicly share a lot of kind of illegitimate or illegal documents that's subjected to laws by each country. But with your friends in private, we believe that you have the freedom to share anything or files of any size without restriction, without concerning about the cost of data storage. You should have total freedom. Okay? I believe that's the total freedom is the killer app. Okay? And also the fully autonomous network that you can control your own data, control the revenue generated from your own user data. That's the way to go. I believe with such a killer app, it's possible to bring masses to the users. Since I have 15 minutes, so I will just kind of fast forward through the rest of the slides. The remaining point that I want to make is, second point is, what is Viewchain? Viewchain built on top of an app, which is 6 years old, called Zapier. Basically, is a phone-to-phone, peer-to-peer file sharing tool. we have 570 million users worldwide, 200-something million in the US, in China, and 300-something million outside of China. Mostly, we have high concentration in Southeast Asia and Middle East and Latin America. So we believe that to start with a massive user base, a massive network of users already doing the P2P fashion decentralized way, it's a good segue for us to migrate massive users to the decentralized world. What's interesting is that in many new blockchain systems, they use sharding. Actually, we have natural sharding here because with a massive user base, we have a lot of user data. For example, people like horror movies, then naturally they are grouped into one. When you do Swarm, so naturally you separate from the comedy movies. So that way you can divide up the work. The problem with a lot of blockchain sharding is you don't know how to divide up the shards. So that's where the devil is in the details. So what is Viewchain? Viewchain is the massive user base of Zapier, plus a decentralized storage that we improved upon the IPFS called DPFS, short for a decentralized private file system. And then we have the Elastos blockchain for ID, for digital asset management, for trust creation. A few words on the DPFs. I don't want to kind of mention too much of the details. What I want to mention is we're compatible with IPFS. We want to leverage the years of work in IPFS, but we have made a few critical improvements. First is we want to support mobile clients. In the IPFS world, there's no concept of mobile client because mobile phone, limited storage, does not contribute to storage. But we view mobile client is important consumer and content generator for the content network. So storage network, we want to add the mobile client. So we actually have the Viewchain client running on my phone. We could demo that later on. Also, we found that the IPFS, the Filecoin, the consensus algorithm is way too complicated, and they're aimed for kind of the payment, kind of premium storage network. The storage and retrieval all need to pay a fee, so that's a higher standard. But for us, we have this cash miner. Basically, it's a simpler way to reach consensus, and we want to make this not only serve Viewchain and Elastos. This can be a bit where serve the other platforms as well. We actually have a few technical advances. One thing is we want to have the security solution between user sessions. Remember, Zapier is a network of P2P users. Each node is a user's phone or PC. So each endpoint is a user. So any storage or file transaction are between a pair of users or group of users. So we want to have the encryption to be fully decentralized among the user groups. And this has a few benefits. For example, it can trace certain user-created content, trace back to the private key of that user. And so the content copyright issues are traceable. And we also have something called, basically it's a decentralized NAT traversal. NAT traversal is very difficult, and it needs supernode to assist. Because if you have two private nodes sitting behind firewalls, it's very difficult for them to connect. It needs the supernode with public IP address to assist. So we want to do it in a fully decentralized way. So we do have some algorithms to do that. To improve the performance, we have some practical approaches because we are used to dealing with hundreds of millions of users. And the internet users, they have no patience at all. If you have the native IPFS, it takes minutes to transfer files. Then you lose the user. It needs to be done in tens of seconds. Okay. So we have, this is our decentralized storage coupled with the Elastos blockchain. And our positioning is different from Falcon. Their paid network, we have the free, we support the free users. We believe that massive number of users, properly incentivized nodes, and massive audience are the critical success factors. We want to build out the largest network of decentralized storage and content network, meaning that we need to have massive number of users actually using it. It's not at a superficial level. Blockchain and decentralized storage should provide the critical reason for them to use it. It's freedom, total freedom. We need to have this, I guess is what Wang called the decentralized apps. We need to have native links to the Elastos sidechain. So whenever you have digital assets transferred on the decentralized storage nodes in Viewchain, and then the coins will be transferred with the help of the Elastos sidechain. So the value proposition of Viewchain is we can serve the public chain like Elastos and many others ecosystem. We think that we don't want to argue about whose technology is more scalable. We want to just prove it with massive number of users. And also, we believe this is a mobile world, mobile era. We need to support the mobile users. So I believe that the next generation decentralized world need massive user adoption. I think with the great foundation that Elastos OS is building, it's certainly we see the possibility. So my last word is power to Elastos, power to the community and users. Thank you.